Hello and welcome to the Drew and Kev podcast. It's not the whatever podcast anymore. We sort of came up with a name, or Kev and Drew. I don't know. I never know whose name to put first, but
Point is, we're
that's
back.
the name. And we're back.
We are
It's been a while,
back.
and we're going to talk about Spider-Man again. I hope you're not tired of Spider-Man.
I don't know about you, Drew, but I can't wait for the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, that movie's coming out. We're recording this the 6th, so the movie will be out like next week, the end of next week. So, did you get your ticket? That is the real question.
No, I'm probably gonna see it by the end of the year with my extended family. What about
Yeah.
you? You're gonna see it the first day?
I got it the day of in the morning.
Damn.
So I'm gonna fight those people. But we got assigned seats. We're good to go. Unless somebody wants to take my assigned seat, which has happened before.
Wait,
By
what?
the way, that shit was really annoying. They had to tell people like, listen, this is my assigned seat. All right, I have the ticket to prove it. So yeah, you got to see people.
Are you gonna sit in the back, front, or like in the middle?
It's like in the middle to the right. It's a little bit. Not too close, but not my preferred seat where it's like dead center in the middle.
So
but,
let me ask you this: if
yeah.
I offer you $200 for that seat, will you take it?
$200,
Yeah,
like cash up
Cash
front.
up front. Give me your ticket.
Hell
200.
yeah! I paid. How much did I pay for this ticket? I paid $18 for the ticket. Yeah, I could wait a week. I'm not like the dude. I've seen some videos of people like fighting over Spider-Man tickets. I'm like, there's no way they're actually fighting about these fucking movie tickets. That seems insane to me.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, but that's the Spider-Man hype.
Yeah, and I'm a big Spider-Man fanboy, but I have a brain. I'm like 200.
All right,
so yeah, we're pretty hyped for the movie, as you guys can tell. The last podcast was about
predictions,
the trailer,
yeah, and like
yeah,
what's gonna
predictions
happen.
and all that. So we thought, like the rest of the internet, would be the next best move would be to review the Maguire movies and go over them, and it's because it's been a while for me. When was the last time you saw them?
Like on each movie, but like it's been like 3 years, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say it's like probably been around that time for me.
Yeah.
I usually revisit them, but then, the new Spider-Man came out, the new Spider-Men come out, and then I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this guy and what he's doing,
Mhm.
But yeah, I've seen all three movies again. Kev saw the first two.
Mhm.
So we're just gonna get into the first movie, which I guess we'll give like our overall thoughts on it, and then we can just like break it down piece by piece.
All right.
But I don't know about you, but I thought the first movie held up the best out of all three.
Oh, really? That's
I really, the flow of the first movie was pretty good. The dialogue with Maguire and Kirsten. I don't know if it's Kirsten. Is it Kirsten or Kristen? I think it's Kirsten. Um,
just call her Mary
yeah.
Jane because
I'm gonna call her MJ.
MJ, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the flow was better. The villain's obviously great.
Mhm.
A less cringe movie than the other two, which we'll get into. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching the first movie again.
Didn't you say you liked the second one? Like, didn't you rank the second one first? Did you change your mind, or was it?
We'll get into that for the second one. But overall, what were your thoughts on the first one?
Well,
like watching it again.
Watching
for so
it
long?
again, like after a long time, I noticed the CGI was pretty rough, but it's
Mhm.
it's expected. It was like back in like the early 2000s, and so like to me, the story was like I know you don't like Maguire. You called him you think he was like the least. You said you were you said
Not my
yeah
not my favorite Spider-Man.
yeah, not your favorite. You ranked him third, which was kind of shocking for me.
Yes, yeah.
But for me, he did a good job as Peter Parker, in my opinion.
Mhm.
What about you? Like as Peter Parker?
I mean, so Peter Parker is like, so he is a nerd,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He does get picked on.
Mhm.
Like, so before he gets bit by the spider in the movie, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty somewhat accurate. It's the issue I have is more with Maguire's acting. He's a very monotone, very like memey face. Like he's always got this Maguire face. It's like, bro, show some emotion, say something.
But
I just want to shake him.
like as him playing as Peter Parker, a nerdy high school kid, how will you like a 1 out of 10? What will you give him?
Okay, before he's Spider-Man?
Yeah, before he's just like Peter Parker as a nerdy kid that
I
gets
I'd
picked
still
on.
give him like a 6.
A 6? Ooh.
Yeah, he's not charismatic at all. He's very like just it's like watching like paint dry personally because I know what Spider-Man has. Spider-Man's also humorous. Like
Yeah.
he gets the powers and he gets out of that nerdy phase, but
Yeah.
when Maguire gets the powers, he's never out of that nerdy phase. He's just a nerd throughout the whole movie.
Okay,
So that's the problem I have
okay,
with
so
him
let me
mostly.
tell you this. This is what I'm wondering because a lot of people actually liked Maguire, and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just like first thing bias, if that makes any sense, when like something new comes out and you just like fall in love, and anybody that criticizes it, you think they're an idiot, you know? I don't know if it's just
Yeah, he's the standard.
yeah, I don't know if it's just like first impression bias, but I wonder
Hmm.
if Tom Holland, let's just pretend Tom Holland would like did the first Spider-Man the exact same way he does the new movies, right? And then Maguire, let's say in the future, he gets cast as that Spider-Man. Let's say they replace universe. Do
Yeah.
you think Tom Holland would have been like the standard, or you
That's
think?
interesting. I think it's so if Tom Holland started off the
Yeah,
franchise and then
yeah,
Maguire ended the franchise, like forget about Garfield. Garfield's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
in the
He's just
middle.
in the middle.
Okay. I don't know because in the beginning it was Sony that had the rights to
Mhm.
Spider-Man, and now it's like Marvel at the end. So would Marvel have hired Maguire? That it's hard to gauge that, but I see what you mean. I'll go with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he would be. I think his portrayal would be beloved still.
beloved.
Holland's a pretty good
Right.
young Spider-Man. He still has to grow into it, but I think he's doing good things at the moment. Like I still need to see more from him.
Yeah, so that made me wonder, like, if let's say Maguire actually did the new Spider-Man, I think people would have hated it, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. I was thinking, like, maybe it's just first impression biases, you know?
Yeah, he Maguire set the standard, and that's the standard. Like,
Yeah,
and it's also like a lot of nostalgia. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of if you watch these movies again now, like you might have like the same or maybe a difference of opinion that we're having. But my eyes definitely were opened after seeing these movies again.
hmm
Um, but yeah, what'd you think about Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin?
um, dude, back then I actually thought they had to modify his face, a bit to make him seem more evil, but I've been told that's
Yeah,
actually his face. He just has this natural super
yeah,
villain face, and I was like, no way, like millions of years of genetics to get a perfect like face like that for a villain. How?
yeah,
But yeah, as Green Goblin, I think he did a good job, especially that mirror scene when he's like, talking to himself. And
yeah.
like I think that was just like perfect. What about you?
Yeah, so I know the one thing that they did alter
Hmm.
in that mirror scene specifically was his teeth.
Hmm.
I think they had like some kind of coating on his teeth so they
Hmm.
were like shiny or
Hmm.
something like that. But yeah, he really got into the role. I really bought him as like another father figure to Peter
Yeah.
because every time he was on screen with Peter, like he would just like want to help him out with anything, and I
Hmm.
really like that aspect of the character where it's like he's like a father figure to like both and not so much to Harry because Harry's like Harry
Well,
grew into that.
that's the thing I also want to talk about is that Harry at the beginning, he wasn't smart, right? He was just like an average kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I guess in a way he wanted, like, I guess he wished he had Peter as a son more than Harry. And I think, what do you think about that?
Oh wait, so you're saying Norman wanted
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Maguire to be his son, or like
No,
he saw
like
him more
he
as
saw,
a son?
yeah, he saw him like as the son he pictured he will have,
Yeah.
instead of Harry. What do you think about that?
Kind of, yeah. That's an interesting observation. I did see moments where he's like, he was proud of Peter for wanting to make it out on his own, and
Hmm.
got Harry here who's like entitled and given
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So yeah, I do kind of see that, and I think that's an interesting observation I never really picked up on when I first saw the movie.
Yeah, well, that's just me because I was like, damn, like if I was Harry, I feel like, Peter, like he hasn't had that much. He's like considered a nerd, right? But his dad
Yeah.
like likes him more than his actual son.
Yeah, I definitely got that, but I still got that he loved his son.
Yeah, I mean, in
Um,
a way, but
yeah,
he I guess
in
he
his
just
own way.
wishes he
Yeah,
was like a better version. Well, not a better, like a bit more I guess one day maybe he'll inherit his company. I guess his dad didn't think he was ready or close to ready,
hmm
if that makes any sense.
yeah. Yeah, you definitely get that vibe where he's like, he questions like, can he even hold my mantle? In like two different ways, like the Oscorp company
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like the
yeah.
mantle of Green Goblin too.
Which reminds me, was Oscorp like under a contract with the military? Because that part I kind of was confused. Because he was a billionaire, right? He was a billionaire.
Yeah, it was a company making like military weaponry and armor and stuff like that, and the Goblin suit and the glider were going to be like part of that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And there
it was
were
basically like Captain America, where it's like
yeah.
a super soldier serum kind of thing.
And they were mad at him because he didn't get the super serum ready, right? And they were gonna pull the plug. That's the part like I was kind of confused upon.
Yeah, it was more like that they wanted it now, and then the other doctor recommended that they go back to square one, and it was obviously like they're going to lose the contract if they don't rush this for human trials, and then that's why Norman tested on himself.
Yeah,
And
so it makes you wonder: is Norman really the bad guy? Is he really the bad, or was it the military in their greed for power?
That's interesting. Where if it wasn't for the military pushing him, he wouldn't have tested the serum on himself.
Yeah.
Who's the real villain?
Who's the real
this
villain?
movie?
I think, looking back at this, I'm like, wait a minute. Norman is actually the victim.
That's a good point. That's wow. Okay, I'm liking this movie a lot more now.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on any of
I
this,
wish
but yeah.
I wish they went more with that. We're like, who authorized this like serum that they needed it so badly? Like what kind of war was happening in the Spider-Verse that they needed that so badly for their soldiers? Oh, well.
That's true. Yeah, they never really got into that.
Damn.
But it's just military industrial complex.
Yeah. And so, basically, as an overall movie, what would you rate it now?
What would I
Well,
rate
actually,
it now?
before we like re-rate it, there was this one scene. I want to hear your opinion on this. When Spider-Man goes to the bone cage, was it a bone cage or a wrestling cage? Right?
Yeah, the wrestling match.
Yeah,
The cage match.
There was this one scene where I'm like, if this scene came out now, Spider-Man would have been canceled. Is when Spider-Man tells the wrestler, right, nice suit, did your husband made that for you?
Yeah. Spider-Man kind of low-key homophobic.
Homophobic. Canceled. I wonder, like,
Yeah.
if that scene came out today, I'm sure, as dumb as that scene was, right, people will call Spider-Man a homophobe. Spider-Man hates the gays,
Yeah.
What about you?
I did see that. I did hear that line, and I'm like, huh. I did not pick this up last time, or like the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That line is definitely a product of the time. I think that was the only line where I was like, ooh, this is kind of, doesn't really hold up. The rest of the movie is just kind of, standard fare.
Wait, I got another question. J. Jonah James, do you honestly think he hates Spider-Man? Or you think secretly he likes him, but because I never picked this up either, but I noticed when he was talking about Spider-Man, this guy comes into his office and he's like, hey, we just sold a lot of papers with Spider-Man. And all of a sudden, J. Jonah James is like, we need to write stories about Spider-Man, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where, like, this is as a YouTuber now, this factor, like, now lines up. Like, how he's always, like, saying, oh, Spider-Man's a menace, right? He's a menace to society. I'm starting to wonder if he just did that just to sell newspaper. Like, secretly, he likes Spider-Man, right? But he has to like do this in order to like sell paper because people like drama and controversy, right? Like regardless if you like Spider-Man or hate him, those papers are gonna sell because if you're a Spider-Man lover, you're gonna be like, oh, why are people hating on Spider-Man, right? And if you hate Spider-Man, you're gonna be like, oh, you see, this is why people should not trust him, So either way, J. Jonas wins. So what about you?
Yeah, basically, he's like Spider-Man's his golden goose.
Yeah.
Right. So he thinks he's a menace, but he also will put his picture like all over his newspaper because they sell. So yeah, it's kind of like a love-hate relationship where he loves the fact that he's getting him like he's selling papers, but he also like hates the fact that he's like you can just do whatever he wants. He's basically the Batman. He just works on like above the law and stuff like that. So he sees him like as a menace.
Do you secretly think he like knows it's Peter?
I don't know. Like they never really addressed that relationship. Like
Because
obviously Jay Jonah is like one of the best parts of this whole
yeah,
franchise of this whole
yeah,
trilogy.
perfect character portrayal in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I would like if I see like an animated show of Jay Jonah or like a comic of him, like I
Mhm.
immediately hear J.K. Simmons in my head.
Yeah.
Like that's how amazing. And they brought him back for the MCU, which tells you everything.
Hmm.
Like he killed it.
Yeah.
One of the best characters like ever.
But what I was trying to get at is that when Peter like shows him the pictures, right? Like it's very obvious that there's only one person could have taken those pictures.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
That's also like it's like the Superman thing, right? Like
Yeah.
Superman's disguise is just like he puts on a pair of glasses,
Yeah.
right? And that's it. Like, oh, I can't tell who this is. You know, it's very comic booky. Yeah, I wish they went into more J. Jonah stuff. Like
Yeah,
he's more involved with the
I
comics.
remember
but,
because
yeah.
I mean it was pretty obvious because even Green Goblin when he went to like the building and destroyed it, he's like, "Who took the pictures? Who's your public?"
Yeah.
Because even Green Goblin's like, "Yeah, this has to be like Spider-Man." Like, and Jay Jonas is like, "Yeah, I can't reveal my sources." He didn't want to snitch out on P, even though he was right there. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, which tells you a lot about him. Like he actually cares about his employees, even though he like without the Goblin there, like he's obviously like just always frustrated by his employees. So it's kind of some character development there from JJ, which I like to see.
Yeah.
Because you would have thought like in that situation anybody would have ratted the photographer out, but no, he kept to his principles.
Yeah, he kept to his principles, which I like. And so, you want to talk about the ending or a bit more of the middle?
Yeah, no, we could like wrap up the first movie, but basically like I like the fact that Goblin was tied to like Peter Parker's life and Spider-Man's life because the best Spider-Man stories are the ones that influence both Parker and Spider-Man at the same time, which Norman like that story arc was like perfect.
Yeah.
And then he finds out that who he is, and he does the villain thing, the twirling mustache of like you must choose.
Between
And
Mary Jane
I remember
the kids.
Yeah, and I think this movie came out like after 9/11. I don't know how long after 9/11, but there was a great sense of like camaraderie like at the end scene with New Yorkers.
Yeah.
I really like to see that. I don't know if that had something to do with 9/11, but I feel like these movies like really encapsulate like what it is to be in New York. There's this sense of like community and sense that like everybody kind of cares of each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Raimi really nailed with this movie too, and the other movies too.
Yeah. And so, and for at the end of the movie, right? So Harry, this is where like Harry starts to like get obsessed with Spider-Man. He wants to get his revenge on him. And it's very interesting. You're going to see like I don't think nobody ever noticed this, but like Harry basically goes from like an average student and uses that obsession of him trying to get back at Spider because he thought he killed his dad and becomes a totally different person. Like basically the son that Oswald would have wanted by the third movie, which was like, whoa. If that which can get into later on. Okay, so
yeah,
what would you rate this movie 1 out of 10?
So 1 out of 10. What I did this movie after watching it? I want to say I'm going back and forth between 7 and 8, so I'm going to say 7.5.
Yeah, same
I
here.
I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot more rewatching it.
Yeah. Especially when you like, I guess now that we're more adults, we can pick up on little things that we didn't notice as teenagers or kids. Like, oh,
yeah,
dang. And so, okay, let's go to the second movie now.
All right, so let's go to the quote unquote Citizen Kane of spider or superhero movies in general. What are your initial first thoughts seeing the second movie again?
People consider the second one like the best out of the three.
Yeah.
But hearing you say you like the first one better, that's kind of interesting.
I think I like the first one more rewatching it. I don't necessarily think it's better than the second.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I still like the second one, like out of all those three. I still think it's the best. And again, it goes back to Otto Octavius, right? Like again, in a way you can say he was kind of I guess his ego-ness, right, is the reason like he became a villain. But I saw him more as a victim than like Green Goblin, like when he was like forced to test it on himself, his experiment, and made him go crazy. What
Mhm.
about you?
Well, the funny thing is like he's doing this test in like a New York apartment.
Yeah.
Like, why is he doing the test in a New York apartment?
Story
But yeah,
reasons.
another villain who's very sympathetic, very
Mhm.
like, you know, I wouldn't say he's a more of a victim than I feel like Norman was more of a victim, but he's like, no, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. His ego got in the
Oh,
way. So
this is the way I was thinking it. Like, this kind of reminded me of another movie, but like, basically, he knew that if he impressed these people, right, which are
mhm.
journalists, like, he basically, if it succeeded, you do realize he would have been like famous, and it would have
Yeah,
been world changing.
yeah.
He was doing like fusion. Was it a fusion reactor?
Fusion reactor
Yeah,
for
yeah,
like
yeah.
unlimited like energy for
He
like
would
the
have
entire planet.
he would have gone down in history as like the father of
Mhm.
science if he
Basically,
succeeded.
yeah,
That's how close he. So in his mind, he's like, let me prove to these people that the thing I work for my whole life works, right? To like usher in a new age of like of humanity, if that makes any sense.
yeah. Yeah, that's it's very Otto Octavius. Like I think they nailed like the character's motivation because he's willing to do whatever it takes
Mm-hmm.
to complete his experiment. But I want to go back to like my first initial thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this movie,
Mm-hmm.
oh boy, this movie is like half amazing,
Mm-hmm.
like apple pie, like
Yeah.
whatever food or dessert you want to use, and then the other half is just complete shit.
Oh.
It's like half shit, half amazing. The dialogue between Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst is so cringeworthy, dude.
Uh-huh.
It brought me back to the movie. This is why I'm reaffirmed in this because
Mm-hmm.
when I first saw this movie in theaters, I literally like curled up in my seat every time Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst were talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dialogue, like "Oh boy, yeah," and "Punch me, I bleed." Like that shit is so bad. But then like it has moments of that, and then it goes from that to like the amazing bank scene.
Mm-hmm.
So and then from the bank scene to another section where they're like talking. I'm like, oh, and then you go to the train section. It's like there's like it's just so poorly paced. Than the first movie, I think.
Oh, interesting. So for you, it was Mary Jane and like basically their
The
chemistry.
love story,
Yeah.
the love story and the chemistry, I feel like was not there. The dialogue was really bad. Like again, more Tobey Maguire face.
Do you think it's just because because at that point, I don't know if you noticed, but Otto like was telling Peter like, hey, if you want like the ladies to like you, like do poems
Mhm.
or whatever, like like you don't think it was just a character thing where like Peter was just like bad at flirting or like talking to girls because he's haven't really done that, and that's why he's
Yeah,
kind of
sure,
awkward.
but yeah, but there is a way to make it. Like you could have delivered so many. Like you remember that scene where he it's like the early on in the movie where he's like in the closet and he's like trying to put away all those like brooms back in the closet,
Yeah.
delivering the pizza, and he's like, all right, it's pizza time, and she's like, he's late, and she's like, I'm not paying for that. And then you get more Tobey Maguire face, and then he takes off the chains off the pizza or whatever,
Yeah.
and then he just like walks away. He doesn't say a word. Like what? Like say like a quip, like say anything. And then another scene where he's in the elevator and he's Spider-Man, he lost his power.
Mhm.
He lost his powers, and he's talking to this guy with the dog.
Yeah.
Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't say anything. He's just like, I made it. Like it's so bad. Like I could think of dialogue that's better than like those two
like
scenes.
what kind of dialogue were you thinking?
I don't know. Like he says like like I made it. Like have a conversation. Like Spider-Man is very talkative. Like he's
Yeah.
very funny. He's very quippy. He's almost like a Tony Stark, but without the money.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm really disappointed in like this trilogy, like with Maguire. Like he's not really funny.
He's not the best Spider-Man is what you're trying to say.
Well, he's no, definitely not. But like he's a good CGI Spider-Man because those fight scenes are incredible.
Yeah. Interesting. So did they ever I forgot about this. Did they ever say why he was losing his powers?
I think it's just because he has, it's just like dealing with like love, like he's dealing with like a love sickness.
Oh, so
Basically, which
okay, so it's what I initially was thinking. It's so somewhat of depression Is that fair to say? Or?
Somewhat, yeah. Like he he loves this girl.
Mhm.
The girl loves him. Where at the end of the movie, she like was into him,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
can't tell her that like we can be together because I'm Spider-Man and whatnot.
Mhm.
So yeah, it can fuck with you. Like, but in the comics, like when he loses his powers, like it's a whole different thing where he like becomes a mutant spider. It's kind of wild, but they didn't go that route with it. They just went with the love sickness angle of it.
Yeah, interesting. So he was losing his powers because of a like I guess lack of depression, not knowing his future.
Yeah, not knowing who he is, like he obviously stopped being Spider-Man.
Yeah,
The doctor scene's actually pretty good, where he's like talking to him like in my friend's dream, he's Spider-Man.
yeah,
That was pretty good.
yeah. Interesting. Like, cause I always wonder like back then, like why did he lose his power? I thought it was just because like the spider thing, like I don't know, he might need another dose or something. That's what
It was like running out.
he was running out. That's what I initially thought, right? But looking back at it, now I started to realize, oh, it's because he was like, sad. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have his like life straightened out. Maybe he's
Mhm.
lacks passion and motivation. Now it makes much more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's still a human at the end of the day.
Mhm.
He just got like radioactive blood.
Yeah, I think
Basically.
that's why people like Maguire because you can kind of relate, even though he's there's some cringe scenes here and there, but you can kind of
So
relate.
many.
Yeah, you can kind of relate. Like we've done cringe stuff before, and
Yeah.
so I think that's why I think people like him because he's like more. You can relate to him more than Garfield, California kid, and
Yeah.
Tom Holland. Tom Holland, you can still relate, but like not I guess not many people are witty as him. But Maguire's
Mhm.
just perfect. Like, and that scene, right, in the yellow, I probably would not want to say anything if I was Spider-Man too, Like, how do you explain that?
I get that. I get that, but Spider-Man's not like that. Spider-Man's very like chatty.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I expected that scene to be a little better. I'm like, wait, that's it? Like,
That's
what?
it. Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is also the start of Mary Jane's manipulative nature
Mm-hmm.
because after the party in the beginning, she sees him outside and she's like flirting with him. She's like putting his hand on, like, Peter. Like she's basically like begging him to say I love you, even though like he's told her like, bitch, no, I can't be with you. And then she turns around, she's like, I have a boyfriend. I'm like, what? Like, so you're manipulating this guy to like go out with you, but like you're with a guy? Like, that's fucked up.
Maybe it's not official. They're out. Maybe she's like,
No, they were officially boyfriend girlfriend.
Wait, were they?
And then she got like engaged to him like a couple
Oh,
days
yeah,
later,
yeah,
a couple
yeah,
weeks
yeah,
later,
yeah.
or whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, she's manipulative as fuck.
Yeah, Mary. I don't know what they were trying to do with Mary Jane. To be honest,
Yeah.
I guess they were just I guess back then they were just hoping, just look cute or whatever. Like,
Have red hair.
just how, you look like Mary. That's good enough. I guess the writers weren't like expecting to do anything with her, which is kind of
Yeah.
disappointment.
Yeah, that's my major disappointment. Like the love, it's basically a love triangle between like her, Spider-Man, and Tobey.
Yeah.
But that's at the heart of this movie, and it's just so poorly handled. Like I don't care about this love triangle at all. Like it's very poorly done.
What do you think about Harry at this point? Because at that point he was becoming very obsessed. Like he had Spider-Man
Yes, a little
pictures in
too
his desk.
obsessive.
He has Spider-Man pictures on his desk. Like
Yeah.
he was using I'm guessing his family's money to investigate like who this guy could be. He was very obsessive, but I think that's like it goes to show you his progress as a character and how he found unfortunately he found something he wanted to be good at, and improve his life, and that's trying to get back at Spider-Man. What about you?
Yeah, every scene he was in, he was basically like, Spider-Man killed my father. Spider-Man killed my father. My father. My father. Literally every scene. And I get it. I think they hammered it a little too much. I think you could give him more than just like, father, Spider-Man, dead,
But
But
what were you thinking? Like maybe be more like show him more like running a business. Because I'm assuming he was running his dad's
Yeah.
company, right?
yeah, he took over the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he funded Otto's experiments, basically.
Yeah. And so more show his business, like how he's grown as a person since the accident. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, show more outside of like, he wants revenge on Spider-Man. Like there's obviously more to Harry Osborn than that, but
I
they decided to just like stick with that.
yeah, I guess. I mean, it makes sense for story reasons. Like I don't think people are gonna want to care about oh, Harry like donated millions to a charity. Harry invented something like his dad. He would have been so proud of if he was still alive.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe that would have been good. Like, oh, if only my dad saw me now. Like the son he
Hmm.
never he wished he had. Damn.
Yeah, yeah. His father didn't really believe in him. Like, could he take over the company and whatnot? Yeah. So, but he obviously was. He saw him as like his heir to something else, something more, dark.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would have liked to see more of that. More of the relationship with Peter was just like squandered now that he's like, I'm the guy he wants to kill, but I can't tell him that.
Okay, back to Otto Octavius. What do you thought of him like before he turned into Doc Ock?
I liked him. He was very charismatic.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. Yeah.
I like how he like him and Peter kind of understood like being nerds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in a way, like I found this a bit touching is that he kind of noticed that Peter was sucked at with the ladies, right? And he's like, hey, don't worry, kid, like it all turns out well in the end, right? Like he
Yeah.
like I was like you, and then like I got rich, famous, and I was able to use my genius to do this. So
Hmm.
I like how in a way he was kind of showing him like there's still like it's rough now, right? But it gets better. That was so touching. I'm thinking about.
Yeah, and it did eventually for him. He revealed his identity to Mary Jane, and she like that face she makes is pretty. It's pretty good. Like she's like, oh, I get it now. Like that
It all
emotion
makes
showed a
sense now.
lot. Like that was a good scene between them.
Mhm.
Finally,
Yeah,
at the very end.
at the very end. Yeah, but when he turned, what you thought of him as a villain? I guess a doctor.
When he turned, I definitely believed it because this guy was definitely dead set on like fulfilling his experiments.
Mhm.
The tentacles were like they were kind of like raptors. Like they were like talking. Like I liked how they were in a character in
Mhm.
of themselves. Like they were just like a completely separate like
So let me ask you this
villainous
question.
thing
This is
motivating
perfect.
him.
Let me ask you this question: Was it Doc Ock
Yeah.
or was it the tentacles that were the real villain?
Oh my god,
Was it
you're blowing
was
my
it
mind, dude.
was it the was it the because I don't think nobody's ever put this together. When I noticed this, I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah,
Doc Ock
basically
invented artificial intelligence, evil
yeah.
artificial intelligence that wanted to destroy the world.
Well, yeah, it's like what? Yeah, when I think about it now, like what are the motivation of the tentacles to want him to fulfill his dream of building the device? Like why that was always the thing where I didn't understand. Like why do they want him to do this? Is it because he wants to do it, or because the AI wants to do it, or the AI wants to destroy the world or something? It's kind of a little bit of Skynet in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
was a little
know.
unclear.
I know, but that's what I mean. Another the industrial complex, artificial intelligence that wants to go rogue, but secretly we don't notice it, right? Oh
Yeah.
my god, another missed opportunity.
And the only thing stopping him from listening to the madness of the tentacles with that little chip on his neck, that one little chip.
That one little chip, which
That was
it's
it.
very that's like neural I don't know if you saw this with Elon. I think that's like Neuralink.
Neurological, yeah.
Yeah, so damn, this movie was kind of ahead of its time when you really think about it.
Yeah, a little bit. The tentacles were,
Yeah.
really really interesting.
Like I wish we could actually I think it's better if we didn't know what they were telling him. Because that way it's up to like the imagination, like
Yeah.
I guess that would have made it a bit obvious that like the AI was the real villain, like tempting him like do this thing for some reason.
Yeah, at all costs,
Mhm. Or maybe it was just
And yeah,
his. Nah, I'll keep with the AI theory I have in my mind. That sounds
yeah, it
better.
was definitely the ad because at the end he somewhat tries to control it and he
Mhm.
tells them what to do,
Mhm.
So he was in control the whole time. He was just like he had a dead set vision of just like I need to do this no matter what. Like my Rosie's dead, like everybody's,
Mhm.
I have no funding, yada yada. So, it's kind of believable.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, real quick, we can talk about the train scene.
Oh, the train scene.
Well, what do you think about that train scene?
It was kind of in real life. Let's be realistic. If this was real life, people would have snitched on Peter that this is what Spider-Man look. There is no person that would not have snitched on him.
Right. Yeah, that was a part where I'm like, I hope they follow this up in the next movie where there are a bunch of people that know who he is now.
Mhm.
You know? So, and he had a job at the Bugle, I think, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or he was like a freelancer or whatever. So people could have been like, yeah, that's the photographer. He took pictures of Spider-Man. Like that's, but again, that's another aspect of like, the, his portrayal of New Yorkers. Like, they're very trustworthy. They're very like, you're one of us. You help us, we'll help you kind of thing.
Yeah. Although
So
in
I
real
did like
life,
that.
they would have snitched on him quickly.
Oh yeah. If they have cell phones and all that crap, like that would have been all over social media.
Yeah,
for sure.
no, people would have like gone to those sketches, right, and be like, "Oh, this is what he looks like,"
Yeah.
And then like the news people were gonna be like, "Oh, this is what Spider-Man supposedly looks like." Yeah, I mean, it was touching, but realistically, I just knew, yeah, you're done. This was gonna be a no way home situation when everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, but it didn't. They decided not to go that route, which I kind of like and I kind of respect it. But I would have liked some repercussion from like at least one of those guys in those trains, like on that train would have been like, low key, fuck you. I want everyone to know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at that point, some people must have hated it. Well, actually, no. Spider-Man's popularity was like,
well, they just saved them from a train. Like from the train crashing.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense why nobody would. But they had to be some opportunistic guy in that train, you know, like
I kind of agree. I wish they pushed that a little bit.
I can
more,
go to Ellen, be like, "This is Spider-Man." I can go to, like be in a talk show, like just to say I know what he looks like. But like they don't they just milk it. They're like, "Okay, we're gonna reveal this next week," then the other week, as much as they can. But oh well.
Yeah. So overall this movie is a mixed bag for me, unfortunately. Like the highs are high but the lows are really low. Like Mary Jane just started getting worse. Maguire started getting even worse as Maguire face. Yeah, I'm gonna say this movie is like a 7 out of 10 for me. A little bit lower than the first movie after watching it for the first time.
I give it a 8.
Yeah, you give it an 8. Yeah,
I give it an 8.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like Mary Jane just gets worse and worse. Like she asked her fiance to kiss her, like Spider-Man kissed her in the first movie. I'm like, oh, what? That's low key sick. That's sick in the head.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the writers just wanted her to look cute or hard or something. It just feels like
major disappointment for me.
Yeah, it's not like maybe no. I was thinking maybe they could have turned her into like a. Nah, I don't think we're okay. Let's just go to the third movie.
Wait, turn her into what?
Like maybe a like Spider Girl or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like yeah, but I don't think that would have worked out. Or maybe was it Black Cat or was it?
Yeah, Black Cat's a totally different chick. Another chick actually. Yeah.
But I thought they were gonna do that. I guess I'll tell you that in the third movie. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
all right. So the third movie. Kev, do you like the third movie?
Yes, I like the third movie. You guys are just I don't
know.
No
one's paying you to say this.
Nobody's paying me to say this. I don't know what you guys just hate that one scene where he turns into like emo Maguire. That's it. That's all the arguments anybody has.
No, there are many scenes
okay.
like just as bad.
Okay, I understand. But you guys overall, right? Like it was not that bad of a movie. You guys just love hating on stuff,
So yeah, like I think this movie is, it continues. I mean, all these movies are kind of similar, right? It's just like they have lows and really high highs.
Yeah, Mary Jane's in danger. Spider-Man saves her.
Yeah, basically that too. Like this movie starts off great, right? It starts off with like that scene between like Harry and Peter farting.
Wait. I was about to say, what kind of?
Yeah,
are you sure you watched the right movie?
That's the uncut version. Yeah. So Harry finds Peter and finally confronts him because we didn't talk about this in the second movie, but basically he finds out who he is.
Yeah.
And he takes he juices up on the Goblin serum. And he attacks him, and it's a really, really good scene.
I don't know if you noticed this, but this is where he started making his own inventions, Harry, where like just like his dad. I'm pretty sure he developed them because the serum he takes isn't it like the new and improved version, or is it just like the old?
I don't know. They never really say anything about that. It seems like to be the same stuff that the father had, but maybe more perfected. He didn't go too insane.
Yeah, he didn't go too into. I mean, he was obsessed, but like, it felt like he was like. I like to think that he took what his dad established and perfected it, where of course
Yeah.
there's still some side effects because that's what drugs do, but
Yeah.
overall, like he could handle it, just to do like that one thing he wanted to do. And I know, so Harry goes from like basically an average kid or teenager, right, to like somebody who can run the business, to somebody who's now inventing stuff and like perfecting his dad's work. Like I don't think
Hmm.
people notice that like character change. What about you?
Yeah, that's a problem with it. Like they don't really like show it too much. They kind of just or they don't really like go into detail with it. They just kind of like show you like, oh yeah, Harry has a skateboard now. He doesn't have the goblin glider thing. He has like a skateboard kind of thing,
Hmm.
which is cool.
Hmm.
But they never really show him like working on it. They're just like, oh, I have this now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I can appreciate it, but I wish they went more in depth with it.
Yeah, me too. That would have been, yeah. I guess those scenes that you'd hate, I guess they could have replaced those with those where Harry's
Yeah, that would
becoming
have been
better.
nice.
Like, hit, this scheme of him, this revenge scheme of trying to get back at Peter. And yeah, so
Yeah.
what was your first impressions of like the beginning with Sandman?
So yeah, it starts off good. Like there's more cringe dialogue between Kirsten and
Yeah.
Toby. And then like after the great scene that they have with the fight, like
Hmm.
then he gets amnesia. I'm like, I hate this writing technique where it's just like this character has this motivation, he gets amnesia,
Hmm.
he forgets all of the two other movies, and it's like, why are we here? Just to suffer?
Really, you hated that scene?
I didn't like the fact that they gave him amnesia.
But oh, interesting.
They just like, all right, we're gonna put a pause on this, motivation of his
Hmm.
from the two movies that we built up,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll do it later. I'm like, what? Why? And you know why they did that? Because they have to balance Harry, they have to balance Sandman, they have to balance Eddie Brock and Venom, the
Yeah.
introduction to Eddie Brock and then Venom.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like this movie doesn't work, because they go from so he gets amnesia and then he basically starts off from zero. He doesn't remember anything.
Mhm.
And then they introduce Sandman. So like they basically take a villain and they put him on the sidelines and they're like, okay, now we're gonna do this villain story. So now it's Sandman's turn. They
Mhm.
give him a backstory and everything. And I thought Sandman's origin was actually kind of heartwarming.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I thought it was very to like you can kind of understand why Sandman's doing it, for his daughter who has cancer.
Yeah.
Although he's still a bad guy though, but it's kind of like the first two where you kind of realize, wait a minute, these are just like, well, I guess in a way they're kind of like victims of their own product, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know about Eddie. Eddie's just like, he was just like, crazy by the end. But
Yeah.
the amnesia thing, I kind of liked it because they went, they kind of had those scenes where they went back to old times, like before, Harry hated Spider-Man or Peter, and I kind of found that a bit touching, and it kind of made it awkward when he's like, "Oh, me, Mary Jane," because did he think that Mary Jane and him were still married? Harry and Mary Jane were like getting married, or was he gonna ask
No,
her
I
out?
th- I think he forgot about like what just happened recently.
Mm-hmm.
So he forgot about that, Maguire's Spider-Man. Even though I think that was a few years later. I don't know. It was a little confusing, but yeah, he basically forgot up to like the end of the, he basically forgot the last movie. He was like at the end of the first movie or something like that,
Uh-huh.
where it's like Peter and me are best friends. My father's dead,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he basically forgot the entirety of the second movie.
Yeah, and he wanted to ask Mary Jane out, right?
Yeah, and then like no, Mary Jane. Oh, okay. So we're skipping a little further, but
Okay.
yeah, Mary Jane and Peter they have like a falling out because she's going through some shit now.
Mhm.
It's kind of I like the juxtaposition of like Peter was struggling in the second movie, and now in the third movie, Mary Jane is struggling with like her career
Oh yeah,
and
her
stuff like
acting
that.
career. I
Yeah,
didn't really
I
much
did
care
like
about
that.
it. Oh, you actually liked it?
No, I like the fact that they made Mary Jane go through the ringer now,
Oh, okay.
where she was dealing with the shit in her life, and Spider-Man was like, oh, everyone loves me now, I'm great, and she was basically jealous of her own boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And then she goes to Harry, and then she kisses it. And I'm like, oh my god, why are you making such terrible decisions? And I think this was after Spider-Man kissed Gwen Stacy, receiving the key of the city.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, that's also like they're doing such terrible decisions. All these characters, I can't stand
But
it.
isn't that like what makes you think this was the writer's way of saying like, oh look, they're human, they make mistakes, a lot of mistakes, but they're human.
I think it was a terrible decision. Even the kid like expressed like I was the kid in the crowd who was like, no, Spider-Man, no, this is terrible.
Indeed.
Basically, because like he swings down,
Mm-hmm.
he gets the key to the city,
Yeah.
and then like immediately everyone tells her to kiss him. What? Like why is everyone cheering? Why is the first thing that comes to people's mind like, oh, he's there,
I don't know. I don't know.
kiss
I
him,
don't know.
like shake his hand, take a picture of what? Like why kiss him? That's so
I don't know.
weird.
Some people are
And then he does it, and they're like,
some people
ugh.
have some weird fetishes, So, are you kink shaming, Drew?
Bro, it's just I don't want it in my Spider-Man movie. you can have a kink for that,
Do you not want
but
Gwen and Spider-Man to kiss?
like it's just like a poor decision because him and Mary Jane were having issues, and like,
Yeah.
oh, let me just kiss this girl. Like he got very cocky as Spider-Man.
Yeah. So
Which like
that's what I was gonna point out to you. In this movie, like Peter is like he likes being Spider-Man more, right? Than he
yeah, because
does.
everyone loves him now.
Than he does Peter, because as Peter,
Yeah.
well, he doesn't really. I feel like he was enjoying he was enjoying being Spider-Man more than he was enjoying being Peter. So in a way, I
Yeah.
guess he wished he could be Spider-Man all the time than just going back to his life as Peter Parker, because that was, I guess, in a way unsatisfying to him.
Yeah,
What about you?
I like an escape. Yeah.
Yeah, an escape.
But again, it's still a terrible decision. Like whatever way you wanna
You don't think he separated
wanna put
himself
it.
like, oh, whatever Spider-Man, it's because it's Spider-Man. But, as Peter, like, it's a different case. You don't think or you think he was...
Yeah, no, I get that argument. I do, but I
Mhm.
just still think like you have to have something in your head where it's like, why am I kissing this woman? I just fought with my girlfriend. Oh, I'm Spider-Man. It's okay. Everyone loves me. It's like I don't know. I don't really believe it. I don't really buy it.
You
too
don't
much.
buy it too much? All right. Because,
No.
yeah, to me, in that point, I thought, like, he was separating him as Spider-Man and him as Peter. But in this case, he just liked being Spider-Man more because, people love him. They appreciate him. And as Peter, well, he wasn't really, like, getting none of that, Well, at least,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
About Mary
I
Jane's,
was, I'm sorry. Go on.
yeah, about Mary Jane's acting career, did you actually like? I didn't really like that. I thought it was like unnecessary to know that she's kind of failing as an actor.
I mean, she wasn't really singing. Like she was lip syncing. So I'm like, okay, I don't even believe that you're actually singing this right now. I don't know. I did like that they focused on the fact that Mary Jane was going through issues now, and
Yeah.
Peter was just unable to like recognize that and help her out because his life was just so like
Like
he was high on life.
He was high, yeah. Like again, yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Now that you say it like that, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
I guess they wanted the audience to be a bit sympathetic. I guess people. I guess they took the advice of like, oh, Mary Jane is boring. Mary Jane's always in danger.
Yeah.
I guess they were trying to make you, I guess, feel a bit sympathetic. Like, oh, look, her career's not like it's kind of stale, or it might be going downhill.
Yeah.
And Peter's not like recognizing because he's enjoying being Spider-Man than he is being Peter, and also be like understanding Mary Jane's feelings.
Yeah, he's having a hard time empathizing with her because in the second movie, his career, quote unquote, which of Spider-Man was, really shit, and now Mary Jane's career is going through the shit.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I like there's a lot of good ideas in this movie, but they're just not implemented well because they make bad decisions.
Ooh.
Mary Jane, kisses Harry, and then Toby kisses Gwen Stacy upside down, which is Mary. I was pissed for Mary Jane because I'm like, yo, that's your kiss with Mary Jane. What the fuck, man? That's fucked up. But yeah, like we haven't even talked about Eddie Brock. Like Eddie Brock just appears out of nowhere for that crane scene.
Mhm.
He's just like, "Hey, I'm Eddie Brock." I'm like, "You are so fucking rushed in this movie. Like you were just so like
Yeah.
the higher ups were like, you got to put this guy in the movie. I don't care how you do it, just put him in, plop him in."
So in your what would you have done? Because it sounds like you wanted Venom to be out of this movie until like the fourth movie.
I would have preferred that. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you would
or build have a movie where you introduce Eddie, build up Eddie, build up the the rivalry that he has with Toby in the Daily Bugle, and then like have another movie where it's like
the fourth movie.
He gets get a full movie where Peter gets the black suit and he has the full movie with the black suit, and then at the very end tease like that gets on Eddie, and then the next movie do your whole Venom. Don't rush the Venom shit. They
damn.
rushed it in this one.
Damn. That sounds... Man, they should have hired those back then. They should have hired... Yeah, because it sounds like Venom should not have been in the... Like, yeah, you're right.
No.
Tease them, build him up, like the rivalry,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, and then make a fourth movie, and then basically end the movies there, and then start a new one. Damn. So you would have... What would the conflict be if they did that? Just Sandman.
Yeah,
and...
if they take Venom out completely, like they use Venom to, like, kind of in a smart way, because or not Venom, but the black suit, where it's like he's trying to get revenge on the guy that he now found out that killed his uncle. And he's doing, he's obviously acting like a dick, as he wants to really find this guy and get revenge on him. That makes sense, right? Which is why I would have wanted this movie just to be Sandman in the black suit. Like, this would have been a great movie, I feel like, if they just focus on those two aspects, and Harry as well.
Yeah,
you want to focus on Harry as well.
So in the end, like, so basically make Sandman like the main villain. That's where you would... Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's originally what Rami wanted to do. He wanted just Sandman. I don't know if he wanted... I'm pretty sure he wanted Harry as a villain.
Well, I guess second villain, or maybe
he's a third villain with Venom. Yeah.
You know what I would have done? I would have made it where the suit went to Sandman, and Sandman became a Venom's... I don't know how this would have worked, right? But I gave him a power up, right? And Sandman would have been like, "Hell, but I'm not in control. It's the suit, And that's when when Harry would have come up, being like, "Let's work together, Peter." Damn it! Why?
And then at the very end, it gets off Sandman, and then onto Brock, like, for the next movie.
Jesus.
It like teases, like, oh, where is it? Oh my dude. That's great. I like that. Peter starts off with it, and then he has to fight Sandman. Like that. Yeah. Fucking A, Kevin. Fucking A. Fucking A. Why this movie could... See, here's the issue with this movie. It's frustrating to me because it could have been great.
Yeah.
Like there's an image that they teased before they announced the movie of Spider-Man with the black suit. He's just like sitting depressed in the dark. It's like raining. He's on top of the church. It says 3 at the bottom. I must have looked at that image like for hours, just thinking in my head, like, what are they going to do? This is the black suit. What are they going to do with it? Venom might be in the movie. He might not. But what are they going to do? And then just coming out of that movie, just being massively disappointed at what could have been.
Damn.
Like, he basically... And the problem with the black suit was, like, they basically made Peter emo.
Yeah.
Why is he being emo? He like pushes his hair down in the mirror after he uses the black suit for the first time. Like, why?
I mean, to
why
me,
are you doing this?
To me, I was thinking like this is just showing that how I already said this. He was enjoying life as Spider-Man. Now he was like enjoying life as Peter Parker, and he just got this big ego in him. Like, this is the way to express it. I mean, that was my interpretation. I don't know about you guys.
By putting your hair down?
I don't know, like being cocky. I mean, he was very cocky.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like, you could have kept that, but just like, why why the hairstyle change? Like I don't know.
So what? So just like
weird.
more, I guess more like flirty on Maguire. Is that what you were like, more like talkative? Is that what you want?
No, I would have wanted him to act like a human being. Like I like the stuff where he starts becoming an asshole. Like I like that stuff. But like the dance scene, the jazz scene,
too much?
Like a little too much, yeah. A little too much. Like, I get he's trying to make Mary Jane jealous, but there are there are other ways you could do that. Like,
I don't know, maybe it's just a product of the time, because I think at that time, I guess like the edgy character, the bad boy in the band. I guess they were trying to go for that, like, oh, Spider-Man's like the bad boy of the band, he's edgy, has his hair down, or a punk kid, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
but it didn't work out when it became a meme.
No.
But you gotta admit, it became a meme even to this day.
Yeah, like Maguire is a 10 out of 10 meme, but a very mediocre Spider-Man for personally. Like, great for memes, but not great for the character.
Let me ask you this: this scene has always bothered me, but you know when like Peter went back to his apartment when he was living alone, and his
Uh-huh.
landlord like came over and is like, oh, where's the money, right?
Right.
And he had the landlord had like a daughter, right?
Yeah.
And I thought for sure, I'm like, wait a minute, is this gonna be like Black Cat? What about you?
Oh no, I never thought. Yeah, Black Cat would being Felicia Hardy. Yeah, no, I don't know why that chick was in the movie
But,
outside of
but
like comic
I'm telling
relief.
you, like, I'm telling
That would have
you,
been nice, but yeah, they never went with did anything with that girl.
oh, now I'm mad. Now I'm more mad because this adds to my movie. This
That
adds
would have
to
been
our
cool.
this adds to our imaginary movie that we like Venom, right? Venom in the fourth movie, and then like this girl turns into Black Cat. Oh, it helps
Yeah,
Peter because Harry's dead at this point, right? So he's gonna need somebody to help, and she turns out to be Black Cat or turns into Black Cat, right? Because of
yeah.
Harry's serum or whatever. Maybe she.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Harry sends him like a package, right, of the serum which she must have. I would like to think she accidentally like grabs his package by accident, right? Or tries to find out more about Peter because she secretly likes him, and accidentally
Yeah.
takes the serum and become. Damn it! What could have been?
Or you could have made her Gwen Stacy, starting with the second movie.
Re-
You know, like you could have like done any important character with her instead. They just like, oh, we're just gonna use you to be funny.
Yeah, well, Gwen at that point it was like they kind of established Mary Jane and Peter, so it would be kind of weird for Gwen
Yeah.
to be. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but that was weird. I always wondered to myself, why did they like hint that this one girl in the apartment was gonna be like something bigger? Like she was kind of like an offside character, right? But it
Yeah.
kind of like emphasized her a bit too much, if that makes any sense, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it was another wasted opportunity. Um, See, originally when this movie was when they were showing off the cast and
Mm-hmm.
they cast or they announced Hayden Church,
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Hayden Church
Mm-hmm.
as Sandman, I kind of was hoping he would have been Eddie Brock,
Oh,
but instead
interesting.
they chose like a mirror image of Tobey Maguire in what's the guy's name? I'm blanking here. I'm brain farting. Topher Grace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Instead they picked like a mirror image in Topher Grace.
Damn.
So I would have liked to see that, but you know, unfortunately, that's not what actually happened. Because he actually looks more like Eddie Brock than Topher Grace.
Oh, oh, really? Hmm.
Yeah, he's like a bigger guy. Like Eddie Brock's a big guy. Instead, he's like a lanky dude who's like he goes to church at the very end. He's lost everything. He's lost the girl that he was gonna propose to
Mm-hmm.
after like a couple cups of coffee as Gwenstead. They literally had a couple cups of coffee. And he's like, I'm gonna marry this girl and I'm gonna flirt with everybody else. And they have one scene together, and then we're supposed to believe that he's really that upset about it. And he's like, I want you to kill Peter Parker, God. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh.
Oh, I want you to kill Peter Parker. Who asked God to kill somebody else? You're in a place of worship and you're asking for murder.
Ma-
Oh
I
my
guess
God, dude.
I guess it's supposed to be a symbol. I don't know. That scene was now that I think of it, that scene was kind of weird. I guess in a
Yeah.
way, instead of God answering his prayers, right? It was
Yeah.
supposed to show that it was a devil that answered his prayers. I guess.
Interesting. Yeah, he's talking to the devil. He's like, here, you can kill him with this.
Well,
That's interesting.
well, I guess they couldn't show it because what was the rating? For
What?
the movie, teen, was it teen rated?
Oh, this movie was PG-13, I believe.
Yeah. So I guess they couldn't like say, oh, please. So I guess it was supposed to say like God didn't answer his prayers, but like the devil did, and it gave him
Yeah.
an answer. You know,
Yeah.
that's
That's actually a good take on that scene. That actually makes that scene a little better, but it's just like the line is just like so cringy and so terrible.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the problem with
again,
PG-13 too.
more you got highs, you got high highs, and you got low lows with these movies. Like it's just it can never be consistent.
Yeah. Do you ever think that we'll get a Spider-Man that's rated R?
I doubt. No,
Damn.
never.
Damn.
Spider-Man is too mainstream. I don't think we'll ever like. We might get like a rated R. Might get more rated R Deadpool and Wolverine, but I don't think you'll ever get a R Spider-Man. I don't think it makes sense.
Really? Damn. Yeah. So one thing about Spider-Man, I guess him turning more like to the evil side. How you thought that was handled?
outside of the cringy like dance
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
like
Outside of that cringy stance stuff, yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. Like I thought like him going after Sandman for revenge for his uncle, like that makes sense. You would be angry about that, and the black suit would like make that stronger. So
This is
it
what I
made
want to
sense
ask you
in that
as
way.
a fan. Do you think it was Peter or the suit that drove him to try to get revenge?
So basically, the suit like amplifies your emotions. So
Yeah.
at the time, he was angry that he didn't find out about the uncle's real killer up until this
Mm-hmm.
point. That there's somebody else out there
Mm-hmm.
who he thought he got justice for the first movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been lingering.
Yeah.
So it amplifies his rage and his anger. That's why like it. That's why it has a mouth with Eddie Brock, because he wants to kill Peter. He lost Gwen. He lost his job. He lost everything.
So they were
Like,
in
that
sync.
makes sense.
They were in sync, is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah, it amplifies it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the black suit does.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah.
So, I guess the any questions you want to ask me? Like,
I guess we could go to the end scene. What'd you think about the end scene, the final battle?
I liked it. Harry got over his grudge, right?
Yeah.
I find that a bit touching. I wish he didn't die, but I get it.
Yeah.
It's it had to come to. I was hoping maybe it would lead to a fourth movie, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't. But I found that touching at the end. He, unlike his dad, right? Like he decided to help Peter instead of trying to
Yeah.
kill him, even though he could have easily helped Venom and Sandman. Sandman was bribed, right, by Venom to like, oh, help me or I'll kill your daughter, right?
So this is another annoying part of the
Yeah.
movie. So yeah, Eddie Brock, he's Venom now.
Mhm.
He's like looking for, I think he's looking for Sandman, or he's looking for Parker. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But they run into an alleyway, and he mistakes him for Spider-Man, and he's just like, oh, nothing to see. Oh, okay, you're the wrong one. Like he has no reaction to like the fact that something with like a mouth, like sharp teeth in the mouth, just like screamed at. He was like, oh, get away. And then like Venom tells him like, I want to kill him too. Let's make a pact. And he's like, let's do it. And then Sandman's just like, okay, sure. It's just like, what? Like, okay, you want to kill Spider-Man, but like, it's just like, what? It's so rushed. Like, I feel like there could have been more here. Like, you have no reaction to this. But yeah, like he eventually like helps him out, and he's like this big golem thing. It's like, it looks kind of cool. I did like how they killed the symbiote. They basically did like a cage, and
Yeah.
he's just like making all these noises.
Wait, I found
Um,
that kind of weird because I was like, well, it's New York City. Like the one place with the most noise is the.
That's true.
I found that kind of
true.
funny.
That's so true, dude.
I found that kind of funny when I like now that I think about it. Like, wait a minute, this thing's affected by noise. You're in New York City.
That is a great fucking point. I never thought of that. But yeah, no, I guess he had to be really close to the noise.
Yeah,
I don't know.
or maybe it's the vibrations of the noise. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, back then I thought, oh, it's the noise, but now that I think about it, it's to make more sense, right? It's the vibrations of the noise that like affects the symbiote.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked how they did that scene. I thought it was well handled. Like I'm like, oh, this is unique. Like I never thought they would, do. I knew the weakness of the symbiote going, which is fire and like loud noises. But yeah, I thought that was well done. And then Eddie sacrifices himself to be with the symbiote because he has nothing else to live for, and he's like, that's
Yeah.
kind of psychotic. But yeah, and then you get the wrap up to the trilogy. So here's another thing that kind of bothered me. Like, so Harry decides to team up with Spider-Man after his butler comes out of nowhere, and he's just absent for 2 movies. He could have told him this like a movie ago. He's just like, Harry, by the way, your obsession is wrong. Your father killed himself. I'm like, motherfucker, where have you been?
Maybe I know this is gonna sound kind of like one of those like, oh, you're just like writing a plot hole, but maybe the butler saw how finally Harry was motivated to do so. Well, I mean, he knew it was for the wrong reason, right? To get back at Spider, but he knew maybe the butler's like, okay, he's not really like going to actually kill him because it's Spider-Man. He's just Harry, right? And he's gonna be busy running a company. He's gonna be doing all these things, and maybe he just let that slide so he can have like this is like his little obsession, right? But in a way that fuels him like to do good stuff. Well, I guess like to like run the company, like work on like building stuff, like as a
Keep his
hobby.
mind
Yeah,
preoccupied,
yeah.
right?
Maybe that's what I know it's kind of like a plot hole feeling with
It
headcanon,
is, yeah.
but to me this makes more sense. Like, oh, maybe the butler saw that he finally had the drive that his dad was saying that, oh, my son doesn't have, like he doesn't have that drive, you know.
Right, right. But he goes to him like after he's wounded
Mm-hmm.
in the face from the bomb, and then like he doesn't know what to do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the second movie, there's a moment where like he's obsessing with Spider-Man, like, and he knows like, and the butler's like, your father only obsessed about your work. Like I feel like you could have told him there, like, listen, you shouldn't want to kill Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get over this because your father killed himself.
Yeah.
I feel like that. I get what you're saying, and I could kind of see it, but it doesn't
Yeah,
completely clear. With me.
it's just I guess it's just one of those movie things where it's revealed now to make to like so
advance the plot.
Advance the
let's
plot.
finally make. We need something to have Peter and Harry team up,
Yeah.
and this will be it. Let's just pull this
Yeah.
out of our ass because we've done this for
Yeah.
the whole movie.
Yeah, so I guess yeah, I guess that's what it was. I like to think that it was maybe yeah, it's just one of those plot hole things that I guess you just have to accept,
Yeah,
and so
which I won't. But yeah. Yeah, I guess the only thing left to talk about is the final scene with Sandman where he finally tells Peter, like, I didn't technically kill your uncle. I had the gun in my hand where someone bumped into me and accidentally shot him, which is like, I'm like, all right, like, but it's still kind of like it's kind of sloppily handled. I don't know. How'd you feel about that?
it's one of those like they were going for the Sandman was not really a villain. He was just like
Yeah.
somebody who needed money for his daughter's cancer, and as a dad, he was
Yeah.
willing to do anything to get that money, even if it meant like robbing Peter, stealing the car, right?
Mhm.
And so I guess it was simple, it was some sympathy. I kind of wish that Sandman, like Peter said something about like, is this what your daughter would have wanted? Like seeing her dad be a criminal, and maybe
Yeah.
him being like, you know what, I'm gonna turn myself in, right? And then maybe like at the end, like he gets probation if he decides to do good things for the city. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, this sounds like a great plot for a movie that should have been explored more.
It's the
'Cause
Sandman movie.
we only see we see him with the daughter once. Like the daughter's in like literally one scene. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Now that I think of it, they should make a Sandman movie. Like instead of like disappearing into the wind, which I thought was kind of, I'm like, okay. I wish he would have turned himself in and like, help Spider-Man like with, I don't know, random stuff or whatever, or maybe team up with
Oh
him.
yeah, Spider-Man could have cleared his name, or because he didn't I feel like the technicality. I feel like the law wouldn't really listen to because there's not really proof of it, right? It's just like word of mouth. Like Sandman is probably lying to Spider-Man just to get away. Like imagine he just like made that up. Like no, I fucking killed him, and I'm just gonna say this because I need to get away. I need to vanish out of here. And he's like, I forgive you. I'm like, all right, sucker.
I wonder what he did after that. I wonder if he just went back to normal or if he just,
Yeah,
just
I probably went back to stealing money for his daughter.
yeah, because that wasn't really.
Yeah, we don't really know.
We don't know.
He has no money. You're literally back to square one, but you have powers. Like you have no money. Your daughter still has cancer or whatever, and your wife hates you.
Yeah, that's why I wish he kind of turned himself in. Like, Spider-Man be like, is this what your daughter would have wanted? And yeah, damn, another missed opportunity.
Another missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Dude.
So in the end, right?
What do you rate this movie?
Not I'll give it a 7. You
6.
Actually 6.5. You convinced me that it has some bad parts here.
Yeah, it's got a lot of bad. Dude, that's the one movie you didn't watch. Like if you wanna rewatch it and and lower it to like a 5, yeah, watch it again. But no, it's had some good moments in it. But again, high highs, low lows, which is basically my summary for these 3 movies.
Yeah, and so going back to the new movies, No Way Home, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel it's kind of in a way weird that the original OG villains, right? They're gonna be handled by Tom Holland as Peter, and not Tobey Maguire, because it kind of feels weird. Because what about you?
So I don't know too much about what they're doing with the villains because I've seen the first trailer. I haven't seen anything else. I'm trying to go into
Mm-hmm.
blackout. But I did see a scene, and I don't know. This is not really a spoiler, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like one piece of dialogue that Doctor Octopus has with Tom Holland,
Mm-hmm.
where he basically says like, "Oh, you're not Spider-Man. You're not Peter."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are like 99.9% probably in this movie. I don't know if that's 100% certain, but
I'll be
it's likely
shocked
that they're in it.
if they're not in it.
Yeah. So they're definitely in it, but I like the I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what these villains' motivations are gonna be. Like, what is Doctor Octopus's new motivation? He's from another universe. He's not from another reality.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a new reality where you have a another Spider-Man. Like, what drives you? Like, what's gonna push you? I really want to see what they're gonna do with that because I have no fucking idea.
Yeah. Hopefully they go back to the whole like where I just said the AI thing. Maybe. I mean, maybe it's just the passion of hating Spider-Man. Maybe it's like, oh, I have a second chance.
Yeah. This might be like a mini Sinister Six movie because you're bouncing four villains:
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Octopus, Green
Oh,
Goblin.
by the way, the movie's gonna be about
Electro.
like an hour long. Wait, an hour.
No, it's the longest Spider-Man movie, right?
How,
I don't know how long it's gonna be, but it's the longest Spider-Man.
do you know how long it's gonna be?
No, I think it's pushing like 245, maybe,
2:45.
maybe 230. I don't know. It's the longest Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, and so damn, it's gonna be a lot of stuff.
I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
This is gonna be the first movie I see since like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie in March of the previous year.
Yeah, yeah. Good. There's no Is there COVID restrictions in your theater, by the way?
I think it's just recommended that you wear
Oh, so it's
a
not like
mask.
it's
I
not
don't think
like
it's
3 seats and then like skip 2 seats, 3 seats, skip.
no. It's packed.
Oh damn.
It looks like to be a packed theater. Yeah. But I'll probably just like wear my mask. Like I don't really mind that too much.
Mhm.
I'll wear a Spider-Man mask or something. Celebrate. Because there's usually people that dress up at these premieres. Like there's always one guy that dresses fully as Spider-Man.
Yeah, it happened with Black Panther. Actually, they brought like a whole like serenade for Black Panther.
Oh, the Black Panther outfit
Yeah,
for Black Panther. Oh, that's kind of
yeah,
cool.
and for the Incredible, somebody went as God, what was his name?
Mr. Incredible
No, not Mr. Incredible.
or Hulk.
No, not Hulk. Whatever. I can't remember. Yeah. So what will you rate these movies like altogether? 1 out of 10.
Overall, like out of 10, like
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a 7. There's a lot of good ideas here. I have no issues with the villains
Mhm.
except Topher Grace. The villains are like the standout.
Mm-hmm.
The love story is not handled well.
Mhm.
I don't, in my opinion. Yeah, the CGI is great. The action scenes are great, but it's just the main cast. Like when they're not in their costumes
Mhm.
of Maguire, I feel like he can't have a normal scene with like anybody. he's so awkward. So that would be my rating for all three movies. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it a 7.5.
0.5, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere.
Because you still haven't seen Spider-Man 3 yet.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, now I kind of don't want to because then I'm gonna feel like all these little frustrations that we just talk about. That this
Yeah.
could have led up to something thing.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, I would have liked us to review the two Garfield movies, but I don't think we're gonna have time to do that. But
Yeah, do
yeah,
you
those
really
movies
want to
are,
watch them?
so yeah, I would like to get another perspective from that, from those movies. I didn't mind those movies as much as a lot of the Maguire stuff.
Yeah, I hated them. I told you I was kind of happy that Gwen died.
That scene was great. That was a great scene.
They
I like Garfield and Emma Stone's relationship more than Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire for
Yeah.
sure. It's more cute. It's more less awkward.
now that I think about it, I think that the reason I actually liked that Gwen died because I found her annoying, but I think it's just because I hated the movie so much, and I
Yeah,
just
yeah, you
wanted
just wanted it to
I
be
just
over.
wanted Garfield to suffer, and I'm like, "How your girlfriend died?" Well, it says
fucked up,
like
man.
Spider, just because I'm like, "Well, you ruined Spider-Man for me. Now I'm happy your girlfriend died."
Oh my
I
god.
get. I
That's
think I
funny.
was. I think I took my frustration out on Gwen dying because
Yeah.
I knew it would affect him. Garfield as Spider-Man. Like you know.
Yeah. But they basically they pulled another Venom in that second movie with the Green Goblin with Harry Osborn. They made him Green Goblin like out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it was.
I'm like, oh my god, you guys are doing it again. You're doing it again. You're rushing this. Stop rushing.
Do you think that was the plan? They're like to make a different universes, but unfortunately Garfield's Spider-Man went so bad.
No, there's no way because these movies were under the Sony umbrella and then Marvel. But I can't imagine Sony anticipated that they'd be bought out for the Spider-Man rights. I think this is definitely Marvel's or like Kevin Feige's doing, where he's like, we need to introduce like other actors from other universes that we want to bring back. Or how do we do this? And I feel like this movie's gonna be the stepping stone for that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it is. We'll see because I've liked the previous two Tom Holland movies. I've enjoyed them.
Yeah, they were solid.
Mm-hmm. Very solid. Yeah.
So hopefully, you think this is gonna win movie of the year? Well, I'm not.
Movie of the year. Well, personally maybe, but overall, like at the Academy, definitely not.
Yeah, they're not.
Dude, this movie has more pre-orders than an Endgame.
I know
that's wild.
I know that's what I mean. Like, that's what I'm thinking. It might be like movie in the year in terms of like the people, fan reception. Yeah, so I can't wait to see him, man.
Yeah, I also can't wait to see it. I think the next time we talk, we'll talk about spoilers.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah, and hopefully, any predictions you want to make?
I hope I don't see Topher Grace Venom in this movie.
Oh,
that's my hope.
That's it.
I hope
that's it.
That's it. I don't want to see that guy.
My prediction is in the end we might see Miles Morales.
Okay.
As as a force, like maybe a teaser, not like actually see him, but like maybe see like a Black Spider-Man to like pass by like a portal or something.
Yeah, because they did name drop him in Homecoming. I hope they at least show like a kid who's like looking up to all these Spider-Men. I hope they don't show him in the outfit yet, because I feel like you have to build that up,
Yeah. So I'm hoping like this is like the beginning of Miles Morales actually having a movie and going with that story.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I would like to see that. So I'll make a real prediction. That was like a spiteful prediction. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that we might see the X-Men in this. I think we might see Tom Hardy's Venom, maybe. Like, I'm trying to think what the end credit scene of this multiverse movie could be. Like, if there's another actor or something that would like, I think if they show Hugh Jackman, like, I think that would be like, holy fuck, like, Jesus Christ. But I don't know. I have no idea, dude. It's so hard. I can't even think of a prediction because it could be so many possibilities.
Yeah, I just went with the most likely one. Miles Morales being teased or shown, so like a hint that they're gonna get their own movie in the future. It makes sense at this point that they get their own live action movie.
Who do you think will die? That's important. Like, will Mary Jane die? Will his friend Ned die? I think Ned's gonna die.
Let's see. It has to be somebody impactful.
Ned's pretty impactful though.
Yeah.
He's like his Harry Osborn. He's like his friend the whole time.
Yeah. Actually, I think. Man, now you got me thinking. Yeah, because it has to be so. It can't be just a throwaway character. Like, it has to be somebody impactful that will, like, Peter will remember him for the rest of his life, right? And I guess in a way will blame himself for not being strong enough and will motivate him to become, I guess, stronger. Yeah, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I think you're right, man. I think you're right on the money. It makes the most sense to me.
I hope they don't kill Mary Jane, because I do want to see that relationship.
Yeah. Honestly, I think she's for her version of Mary Jane, right? It's perfect. For a more up to date Mary, like with the Gen C's, I guess it makes more sense.
Yeah, for sure. And she obviously can grow up and she can dye her hair red and be like, hey, now I'm Mary Jane.
Imagine.
Yeah. I think the end of this movie is going to be I'm making a third prediction because I'm thinking about it now. I think the end of this will be, Tom Holland will be in the Sonyverse for a while. He's going to the Sonyverse. Like, he's going to meet up with Venom. They're going to fight. He's going to like interact with Morbius and all the other Sony characters that Sony owns the right to.
Mhm.
I don't think we'll see Tom Holland in the MCU for a little bit. I think he's going to be gone because there's quote unquote no way home. I think that's why that's the title. Where he's
Oh,
just gonna be lost there
interesting.
for a
He's
while.
gonna be stuck
Yeah.
there, and Doctor Strange is gonna
Yeah,
try to
no
find
way
him.
home.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to. Yeah. Yeah.
Or he's got to like tackle these villains, like drag them to the Sonyverse or something.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Or he has to fight with the other two Spider-Man that might show up.
Imagine. I imagine like they're about to say goodbye, right? And then Tom Holland, Spider-Man gets like some a black spider web gets him from behind and pulls him into a portal.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine
Yeah, that could happen. Yeah.
black web just push. Come here, Peter. I'm not done with you.
I mean, Marvel has I don't know who has the say on Venom because Sony made the Venom movies.
Mhm.
So I don't know if Marvel can say like, "Oh, we want you to do this with Venom." I have no idea what they're going to do.
All right. So I want to wrap it up
But
here.
yeah. Yes, let's wrap it up
All right.
here. Yeah, leave your I should have said this in the beginning, but leave your comments and questions for anything. We'll probably talk about Spider-Man next again in the next one, but until then, we'll see you later.
Bye.